we got some Wolves coming in. I had to hit them with something out of the blue, but we got Antic versus Direwolves coming up very soon for you, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be one way to cancel out tonight's full night of day one. Skimmy and Tally, you've been crushing it so far. Our predictions are 100% as well, just by the way, just for everyone at home. We're looking really good. Do you think we can keep these going? Before we get into that, before we get into teams, do you think we can keep these good times going? Are we hoping for the 100% success rate on picks today?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Because our heads are this big, because it's full of that much knowledge.
That's why you got your hair's looking so good right now as well, so you're like keeping all that knowledge in, and it's just trying to get out a little bit, but it can't.
It's true. Facts.
Look, I'm loving it. But no, what an awesome series we've had so far. Ground Zero, we're looking so dominating in that series up against Mammoth, but we're going to have to see if they can pull this one back around and we can start seeing it over on the side of Antic or Direwolves, as we do hopefully have some rosters coming up for you just to see who's going to be taking on the stage for this next series. But what do you guys think as we have Antic being shown up instantly for you? What a good looking team, Tally.
Yeah, so we've kept the original Antic plays in Zoranus and Dracu, and we've decided to pick up Foreigner from Ion, which I think is a really good pickup. I think he had a really good split with that team, and being able to play with even stronger carries now. We'll see what he's able to do. And then stable pick and raise, he's considered one of the best players in Oceanic history and one of the best AD carries we've ever had. So I think that pairing with Dracu will do really, really well. And then the big X factor of all of this, all of the roster changes is Incursio. Will he play Katarina? What crazy stuff is he going to do? I can't wait to find out.
We've had some inklings in Twitch chat as well about it, because you're being pulling up that Katarina. But I guess there are so many good champions, especially those strong mages in that mid lane, that could cause a little bit of havoc. But Skimmy, any lane that you're looking at here?
Yeah, for me it has to be mid lane, as Tally's already mentioned, right? The fact that Incursio comes back, he spent, he debuted as a pro back in 2021 for Legacy. He's been absent for a good few years, at least 3 years. Yes, he was a sub on Pentanet, but we never saw him play back then. But he does have that very unique champion pool, right? He's going to warrant the pocket pick ban, like we've seen time and time again, where Benvi gets his Heimerdinger band away, Darjan got his Zoe band away. The list goes on, Kevy, even with the Evelyn. So expect the Katarina tax to be paid. But in terms of what he might play, I think, honestly, Bob's your uncle. He could literally play anything under the sun. I'm really hoping for a lot of assassin gameplay in particular.
Yeah, I know that Yone is a pretty strong pick in there too, but we'll have to see what they're going to pick up, because there is another team looking to take these Wolves out of the fight, as we have the Direwolves lineup coming in at you hot. And I'm looking at this team, a couple names that we've seen before and a couple fresh names, but Skimmy, anyone you're looking at here? I'm looking at Katsuri and Shinky in this bot lane.
Yeah, well, the story of last split, right, was the fact that it was Katsuri versus the world. Is that really what it felt like, right? He had a double support composition where he got to pop off on the Lucian and really try and drag his team across the finishing line to try and salvage some kind of form. But you've made a few additions, a few different changes. Mayfarn now joins the roster, which I think he's certainly been a welcome addition, right? He's spent a fair bit of time now in the LCO too, so can't really go under the title of a rookie anymore. I guess for me, it's the likes of Guapi and Mochi as to okay, how strong are these individuals? Because my info on these players is very limited. So keen to see what they're about, what they bring to the table, and how this roster looks now going into Split 2.
Yeah, fresh names, fresh faces here, Tally. Any thoughts on this Direwolves lineup?
Yeah, the echo Skimmy statement, I think we know a lot about Katsuri and Shinky in the bot lane, but not so much about their solo laners. As a solo queue player, I have versed Guapi before. I know that he's this he's a mage player. He's proficient mechanically, so I expect to see a lot of traditional stuff from him. I know that you were talking about Mayfarn, who was playing in tournaments recently, so he does have that bit of a competitive experience under his belt, even though he's been out of the LCO for quite a while. So have to see if that's gonna aid him in his return.
Yeah, it should be quite interesting. Again, it's a team with a lot of unknowns, but we like that, right? A lot of that behind it, not knowing what they can pull out, what champions they can pick, really opens them up to being able to play anything and maybe pull something from left field that could do some work. But depends if they have an answer to that Katarina in the mid lane. We're just going to have to wait and find out. But we're going to have to see, I believe, our predictions of who's going to be taking home this one. Let's have a look and see what's going to be going down as to who we think is going to take home this win. But maybe not. That's okay too. But no, there it is. Did just come up and we've all got the same vote. 2-0 again. Twitch chat, you've seen it already. Just start putting it in. That's fine. Skimmy, what do you think?
Yeah, look, it's the return of Reiku. What a roster. What a roster. I mean, for me, I think Draku's got a bit of a point to prove, right? He's stuck with his team. He brings back Raze. They came first during the regular split, then they came second during the playoffs. So Draku's never actually won the title, the domestic title of the LCO before. So bringing back Raze, it's a case of saying, okay, let's do it again. Let's do it with a different style of roster, and sort of let's see if we can have a better outcome this time.
Dally?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess like echoing again what Skimmy said, I think Draku has a lot to prove. Like he's been on like top teams in the past. He's been very close to like achieving greatness, but like maybe this is the time. Maybe he finally does get to achieve like the trophy, like the stage win. You know, like we'll have to see.
Yeah, it's also Skimmy saying that Raiko as well. We do actually have Draku here joining us on the desk to have a chat about what we could be seeing from Antic. Mate, how are you doing? You keen for a good Moggin?
Yep. First of all, I'm going to leave it there, but Tally, you shouldn't have said that. I think we got smashed together in order, but yeah.
Well, mate, how are you feeling? You've come off a pretty successful last split. Sadly, didn't get there right at the finish line, but you guys were looking so good the whole time too. How are you guys feeling with this updated roster for this split?
Well, I think this split of LCO is probably like a Mickey Mouse one. So, you know, our roster is a bit, you know, like I'm kind of just playing as a favor in my opinion. You know, I just want to have a good time with the boys. But yeah.
Yeah, nice. Skimmy?
Well, that was going to be my question, bro. It was like, is this like a boys squad? It's just like good vibes. We're going to actually have some good fun and sort of get it done on the Rift because obviously, as we mentioned, you've always been in these top rosters. You've been overseas to America for TSM Academy as well. You've come back and it's a case of, I know you've always wanted to try and win the title. Is that still the goal? Is no matter what team I'm on, it's a case of always staying up to date with my ability to challenge?
Well, I think personally, I was always one of like, you know, the top players in those. But I think, you know, winning in those is kind of like, you know, especially now, we just want to get to Taiwan. Like, I'm pretty sure winning is kind of, you know, it's just like whatever. But I think Taiwan is like the big one. But this split, I definitely want to win because I know if we win, you know, for Raze definitely gets the most titles, domestic titles. So, you know, do it for Raze. You know that like Simpsons meme? Yes, I gotta do it for him.
Do it for Queen.
But yeah, yeah. You know, bad luck Lemus, the one that got away. Maybe in 2028.
He's already got his like 5-year plan worked out.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of want to like touch on what you said before because like I guess like the guys already asked what I want to ask, but I mean, you mentioned like it's a Mickey Mouse split and like your expectations like aren't like that high, but do you really see like OS as being able to contend in Taiwan? Because you keep talking about like I want to go to Taiwan, like that's what's important. Like, do you think like there is a chance like we can finally do it?
Yeah, I think eventually we will, but it seems a lot of rosters in OS they kind of, you know, they're kind of like greedy. They don't really want to like. There's a lot of beef and immature kids behind the scenes, so they don't really want to make the best possible roster. I think there was only, you know, me and a Turkish ADC we had to use our domain expansions together in order to beat 40 kilos in Taiwan. But now I think OS is just over. So
fair enough. Yeah. Look, can't argue with that. But thank you so much, mate. It's been great having you on. Good luck in your games in the series moving forward. It is day one. We're expecting big things from you. I want to see some spicy picks in that bot lane. But take care of yourself and good luck again. I like it. Big words from the big man himself. Definitely benches 180 for sure. Can't argue against that. But still, they were feeling confident. They're looking for that Taiwan win.
The biggest thing for me, Pike, was just how honest it was. It was like, you know, almost like the glaze of, yeah, can't wait to be here, another split, yada, yada. It's almost just like, look, here's the harsh reality. Here's where I'm at. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I want to try and achieve, which I think for some people might come across as like a bit brash, maybe a little bit unprofessional, but I think in a way it's kind of refreshing to hear, not the truth necessarily, but to hear just somebody's opinion, which isn't like, not media trained, but like, I'm going to keep darting around the point that we're all kind of thinking, but we don't want to say.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we all know that's like the goal now, right? Like that's just part of our split. We have to go through PCS. We have to make those moves there. So that has to be the goal, right? And that's the place that we've been having the struggles. So, trying to meet that expectation and say, let's just be brutally honest about it. I actually love it, man. Like, I think that's a great thing. Tally, how did you find that? Do you like the confidence of him?
I think being realistic is honestly like really important. Like you can be egotistical to a certain extent, but like being realistic, like knowing like what your expectations should be, like being able to meet that is really important to being like a consistent pro player. Like if you set yourselves with such high standards all the time, like you burn out extremely quick because you're so constantly disappointed in yourself and stuff like that. So like, you know, being a region that is so like used to disappointment, like it's honestly like it's healthy to set standards that you can meet like consistently, but you know, still striving for greatness is the most important thing, like when you're trying to become the best player.
Well, that's it. And sadly, if we are used to disappointment, you're not going to be disappointed with our next interview, which is Katsuri. Mate, how are you doing? The star of the Direwolves. Are you excited for tonight, mate?
It feels good to be back. Not gonna lie, I've been grinding a lot, so yeah, feels good. Feeling excited,
mate. Like you guys are looking pretty good. Any thoughts on this series? Like, you a bit nervous to go up against Antic, or you got some things up your sleeve?
I wouldn't say I'm nervous. I'm kind of like happy to play because like I was kind of itching to play this split anyway after my showing last splits. So I'm not sure what we'll do on game. I don't know how they're gonna drop, so it's actually we're gonna be surprised. I don't know what I'll throw. It's gonna be on the spot, but yeah, I'm excited.
All right, Skimmy, got anything to add to that and chat with Katsuri?
Yeah, welcome back, Rob, for another season. It was obviously really exciting watching you play last split. We had like the double support simp squad, just basically allowing you to like 1v9. You know, in terms of this one, obviously some new faces joining the team. Does the overall archetype of the team change a whole bunch, or is it very much like you wanted to be the star of the show, build around my resilience, my sort of inability to tilt because I played this game for such a long time?
I can't reveal too much because it's just the first week. But I'd say the style is similar. Like, I am still the team leader, so we're still rocking with that. There's some U faces. There's also like a U rookie in the top lane. So just gonna have to guide them through the first few weeks and see how they go. But honestly, the boys seem stoked. So yeah.
Yeah, primo.
Well, sadly, Tally, we're going to have to skip you. So, Katsuri, the only way you're going to be able to talk with Tally is if you win and get MVP. So, we are going to have to end it there. But thank you so much for joining us on the desk here. We can't wait to see you play, and good luck out there.
All right, thanks. Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm excited. I think talking about Mochi in this top lane too, rookie, might have a couple nerves on him as well. We're going to have to see what he's going to be pulling out of his hat and how they're going to sort of guide him in these games. But Direwolves, I think they could be feeling quite confident.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say, I mean, every single time we've asked Katsuri, he's never been phased. Doesn't really care who he's up against. For him, it's just another game. That's always been a consistent factor. It's always been the case that the players around him, how are they feeling? Because they can be rookies, they can be nervous, they can be new just in general to the competitive landscape. So I think he's going to try and get through the hurdles again. But if anything else, I would say that, yeah, he's played the game long enough that he can be the leader, he can inspire, and he can just, you know, showcase by his actions. If he goes, like, you know, crazy, goes like Lemus crazy, like we saw in the first series.
It's so possible, as we are going to have a quick look at our side selections as well. Tally, I'd love for you to break this down so you can have a chance to actually get some words in there, champ. But blue side going over to Antic as well, and then Direwolves picking up blue side too. Man, it's looking pretty stock standard right now.
Yeah, I expect to see blue side pick from pretty much every team in the comp. I think that like Corki is extremely strong, like Skana is really strong. There's a lot of like first picks that are just being banned consistently, and like these champs can like define your draft and also like carry from, you know, like pretty much any position. So I assume that like we're gonna keep seeing blue sides. We're gonna keep seeing just like, you know, comfort, slow. Well, I would say like Corki's a slow champion, but apparently not because we're dropping like 20 kill games consistently. But you know, we'll see what happens when we see more games.
Well, we are going to have to also see what Twitch chat has to say about who's going to take home this win. You can get your votes in just up there. Oh yeah, I've nailed it the first time. Feeling chuffed about that one. But yes, get your Twitch votes in to see who's going to take home tonight's win in the first game between Antic and Direwolves. I know I'm going to be putting my money onto Antic as they're looking just so good. They're feeling fierce. But what do you guys think? Are you excited? How much would you be dropping right now? Skimmy?
All in. Every single time.
In.
Giga Chad.
Every time. All in. Always.
All you got to do is press that custom amount and then just type every single number you have. If you don't, you're not doing it right and you should just rethink it. But still, we have the games going, and I'm excited for this one, guys. Are you pretty pumped? I know you're still pumped. I keep asking it because I'm excited. Maybe it's just my excitement getting into it, but I think Antic's going to come home with some pretty big wins here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I'm not sure, honestly, given the unknown quantity of direwolves and based on how people have put them in fourth and other people have put them in last, just how strong they are. So, if anything more, I'm excited to see what this roster looks like.
Tally?
Yeah. I just want to. I want to learn more about direwolves. Honestly, I think there's like agreeing with Scheming. There's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of missing information. I think Lemus said like the keyword, like there's like prospects. Like we have a new rookie. I think that like it's been a long time since we've had like a like a really good rookie. I think Doraemon did really good last split. Like that was one. It's really exciting to see like talent in Oceania, which is like so like far in between. Like finding new players who can like step up and like take over the title of like, you know, myself, a former like superstar of the Oceanic region. But you know, well, have to see. You know, honestly, I just want to see. I want to see what they look like.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think that's the one thing that I feel like OS has sort of missed for quite a while now is having new rising names coming up. I think we saw Hooper as well coming up from some amateur tournaments. We've seen Findo as well. But guys, we have a game ready to go. I'm going to hand it all over to you to take over. Skibby and Tally, go have some fun. Antic, show them what you got. Direwolves, you show them what you've got. And we'll see you there. I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you very much there, Pike. Yes, Tally, let's load ourselves into the second series of the night. Let's get some answers to the questions we're all asking. What is the true power level of the Direwolves team? And I suppose there's no better test than to jump straight into the deep end and go up against our second finalist.
Yeah, I think that's the story of week one is a lot about like a lot of information gathering. Like we don't really know a lot about like these teams, what they look like, a lot of new players. It's just a lot about finding out what these teams prioritize, like how they look. You know, Ground Zero had just come out and shown us like such a dominant performance. Pretty similar to what we've seen in the past, but you know, I want to see, is Antic still the powerhouse? You know, like is Direwolves like that dark horse team that can take games away from like anyone in the region?
But they certainly did last split, didn't they? Let's see if they can try and do it again as they instantly pay the Incursio tax with the Katarina band first and foremost. Same could be then said for the Draven and the Corki denied. Now, if we do not see a Skarner ban here, is that a potential first pick candidate?
It could be. I would definitely look at the Skarner. This could be the first. Is this the first competitive Skarner in the world because he has been disabled everywhere?
I believe so. This will be exciting then because the Carthus has been banned. AD carry is just so broken. We have to lock that in first.
Not even a crit champ as well. What is this?
Raze is like, watch me play on hit, and I'll show you, Jimmy.
You know, okay, I was coping a little bit. I did think that like maybe teams wouldn't ban Katarina against Incursio because it's like considered a really bad competitive pick. Like if you have any form of like team cohesion, the champ just can't do anything. But you know, like they did destroy the Respect Man Adam, and like we'll probably never get to see it played. But you know, maybe the future is different, as we do see the affiliates being picked. Usually, we want to see the support being picked on 3 here to enable the counter pick. I think that like picking your bot lane 1-2 together into such a strong lane that Varus is a bit in, as we do see the Talia, which is, you know, such a strong pick on the patch right now.
Certainly is. It hasn't really changed much from when we last saw these teams play. Talia certainly at the front foot of being the go-to champion, but the Aphelios coming out is a instant response, second most played champion here by Katsuri. Certainly if we're talking about those 2-item spikes, that's what I remember, right? When Season 10 was around, Aphelios would hit those 2 items and he would just one-shot everybody with the Moonlight Vigil. So if we're going back to a meta of old, it could just be who can spike earlier and who can team fight better. Antic going to respond with a jungle of their own. They're going to lock in the Vi and then consider what they are wanting before the next rotation.
Yeah, most likely this is going to end up being support. It's like unlikely that Direwolves is going to get support in 3 and then to 2 bans. Like it's just like leaving pretty much no answer for Antic. Let's see if they do want to just lock in the Hui. Maybe they do think this is too strong in the current patch right now with the Blackfire Torch. I personally have never seen Incursio play this champion. So I'm really curious if this is like a mid support flex or if it's just going straight mid.
That is what I'm wondering as well, because we certainly did see a fair bit of the way he played in the bot lane as well as the support. Does beg the question, would you want to still flex it in that fashion, despite the new changes with the new items, as you just mentioned? But the Cassante going to come out before that second rotation of bans. So Direwolves have laid down the law and said, we want aggression and we want mobility. Now, for Antic, you're thinking they've got the long range set up right now. So what would be really their concern is, right, they've got a Vi that can dive in to try and find the target, to try and snipe them away, but what would they be wanting to deny as, the Die will take away Ash?
Well, I mean, Antic are a bit all over the place. Like, they have, like, these extremely long-range champs, but then they have, like, the hard engage dive champion Vi. So, like, Foreigner's a bit sad right now. Like, he's going in by himself into, like, Talia, Cassante, and he's not going to have a good time. But if I'm Antic, like, I would just like to ban away mids. Like, ideally, this, like, Hui is just going to end up in the mid lane. So I just want to ban, like, any matchups that can make it volatile, make his, you know, time harder than it should be, because that is a champ that, like, when he does snowball can, like, 1v9 a game. So I have to see, like, where it's still going. I'm also really curious, like, what champions Incursor will play, because, like, he is known for, like, the Talon, the Katarina, the, like, Silas, Yone. Like, he's not really known for, like, mages. Personally, I don't think I've ever seen him play a mage in my life, so we'll have to see how it goes.
Let's have a quick look. Let's go to his profile, and his least played in competitive was 1 game of Zoe. Does that count? I mean, that's basically an assassin, right? Like a mega ranged assassin?
Nah, Zoe's an assassin. 100%, it's not a mage.
He can't get away with the technicalities on that one. So yeah, as you say, is that known quantity, that predictability, but like, can you stop it? You know the assassin's coming, but can you build a draft to try and beat it?
I think what Daiwos have shown already is, like, really into assassins. Like, you're not doing anything to a Cassante. It's really hard to, like, dive onto Talia when she's just like has access to the Zhonya's and, like, the Unraveled Earth. And especially, like, Lee Sin, like, this champ just completely demolishes all assassins. I assume this is going to be a Hui mid. I would think that's the smart thing, but, you know, you never know with Incursor.
You certainly don't, and that was a bit of a rap god moment for you there. You're getting pretty good at this old casting business. That's not too bad there, mate. That's not too bad at all. Well, we have to wait and see the grand reveal for whether or not it will be flexed into that supportive position, because as it stands, and as you rightly mentioned, there's a lot of champions that will certainly deny the ability for Assassin to not only function, but also snowball without any great deal of effort from the rest of their team, almost sacrificing their own ability. Will a Twisted Fate come out to play? Will the ability to be global and, in particular, smash the Cassante 1v1 still be the focus? Yes, it will. And now they hover supports, which would lend back to, it was never actually going to be a flex in that mid lane.
Yeah, so it looks like they're going for this, it's a pseudo, like, pick poke comp. Not really, like, so much like they want a 5v5 front to back. It's like a, you know, gold card, Varus ult, Varus Q, like, Hui damage. Like, I don't really expect to see Foreigner engaging in, like, a 5v5 scenario, and more so just, like, setting up his carry's damage. I think it's really, really hard to play into these, like, triple carry comps, because you misstep and there's just so much damage that comes out and you just explode. So, like, you won't really see Cassante being insanely tanky, as, like, Daiwos do go for the Amelia, which is, they're going for, like, a very traditional, like, front to back. We have a tank, like, we have a carry, we have a mage. I would say, like, I'm comfortable with Antic's draft because, like, they just outrange them so much. I think the Talia and Aphelios will really struggle to do damage when they're outranged so hard, like with the rapid fire cannon coming through from Twisted Fate to set up, like, all this engage and, like, the mobility coming out of the Rakan.
Yeah.
I think they're happy with this.
Well, I think really the only talking points for me that sort of saves it for Direwolves is that Shinky probably has the biggest responsibility in this game to not only get to level 6 ASAP, but also to land an ultimate really well, right? Obviously, the Breath of Life cleansing out of all CC, and there's a lot of it from Antic, be it gold cards, the annoyance that a Hui can provide, the chains, and the knock-up CC from the Rakan as well. So I'm curious to see how he can navigate that one, because, as you say, he's definitely got his work cut out for him, as do the entirety of the Direwolves, but they were the unknown factor. They were the unknown quantity, and look, I suppose draft is one thing, but then showcasing how you can navigate it, how you can pilot those champions is certainly another. So I think we're both still unified in that we believe Antic are the favorites, but I think Direwolves, they have a fighting chance here with some clever picks.
Yeah, you're definitely not disappointed with what you have as Direwolves, sorry. I think that, like, you're happy with what you're able to do in the early game. Like, you do have fighting prowess, you have, like, priority in mid, you have a really strong jungler, and, like, if you're able to find, like, the gank access onto the Twisted Fate, like, the Cassante can take over that matchup. I am curious to see if Gatsuri will go for, like, the Ghost instead of the Cleanse, because he does have the Amelia ult to be able to, like, get him out of any CC, but he will be outranged if he does decide to go for Cleanse, and, like, without that extra move speed from Ghost, it's going to be really hard for him to do damage.
So it could be. Let's see then which team will do the most damage in this second series of the night. It is Antic, your finalists from last split, with a new face with the likes of both Raze, Incursio, and Foreigner joining the roster, and then Direwolves also with newcomers joining the team, rookies amongst them, showcasing we've made it to the pro level. Let's see what we can do up against one of the heavy hitters in the league. Level 1. Let's see if any shenanigans take place like last time.
Yeah, Raze, like memory to me has always been the level 1 guy. Like I've been on many different teams with him, and he's just always been the guy who cooks up like something crazy level 1. So I think if there is any level 1s in the region, it will definitely come from Antic.
Certainly would do. And I think it was an interesting point that Draku raised, right, in terms of like prestige in the region. Both Raze and Babbitt, former teammates as well, right? Teammates that you've shared with 6 titles to the name. They're tied as the most successful player ever in Oceanic history. Schönfire not too far behind, as is Biopanther tied at 5. They're still active in this league. So there's definitely a bit of pride on the line to say, I want to try and be outright the best player, the most achieved player, celebrated one to play down under.
Yeah, definitely having 7 tiles to your name would be a bit crazy. I'm curious to see how this bot lane does play out though. I feel like Direwolves should be like pretty happy with how the 2v2 works. I don't think like there's an insane amount of damage coming out of the Varus in early game. And I think that like the items that Affiliates has access to is just like way stronger than, you know, like an on-hit Varus. I assume he's going to go lethality because he wants to have access to like poke. He doesn't really want to be playing a front-to-back kind of style.
Yeah, if you can outrange, as you've mentioned a few times, then that is your strength, right? And obviously a lethality version of Varus snowballs very, very hard. So let's see how they pilot this one in the bot lane. As for Katsuri, being the star of the show, the team leader, the one to try and get the resources funneled into him, will he be able to hit the promised land of getting those 2 items online and giving us those, you know, on-release Affiliates flashbacks?
You know what? I didn't actually notice it, but we have Mayfarm playing top lane and Mochi playing jungle.
It got flipped around at the last second, yeah. So
okay.
Everything's changed in the heat of the moment, and that does throw a bit of a spanner in the works, right? Because that's another role swap.
Yeah, like Mayfarm to me was always like he's the Graves guy, he's that like Kindred, like the high tempo jungler, but we don't know much about Mochi. Like he's a new prospect. Like I'm excited to see like what he's able to do, especially on a pick as strong as a powerful pick like Lee Sin.
Certainly is, yeah. It's a very interesting discussion. Maybe when we get a chance to interview him, we can ask why that switch has come around. And with the Viego buffs, perhaps there's a chance to try and play his most played competitive champion now in a laning capacity. As it stands, though, he gets to endure a very annoying matchup, right? Cassante, obviously insanely strong, does receive a nice little buff on this patch, which I'm sure to many people are confused, but is into the Twisted Fate, which makes that matchup feel really bad.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good to like get the CS under his tower there. It's a bit of like you have to take it in the early game. There's not much you can really do until you get access to like the tabbies and a bit of armor, and then like you can play to ignore the TF. Maybe you find the Q3 and get a solo kill, but it's just honestly a lane that you survive in. I'm surprised that they didn't go for a lane swap if that wasn't nerfed recently, because I think that is next patch.
We didn't see anything in 14-10, so it would celebrate the fact that it is still viable, it's still possible, but whether or not the team feels strong enough to communicate and then operate it is another question entirely. As Foreigner pops his head into top lane and says, "You're not the jungler anymore, buddy. Enjoy the life of a laner that gets ganked on cooldown." He goes in for the hit. He flashes out immediately, drops down to 40%. Zonis also cups the turret shot as well. And Mayfarm says, "Well, dive me again. My jungler is in the bot lane. I've got no protection, but my tower is my best friend."
Well, Mayfarm didn't decide to W either of the gold card or the VIQ, but he's still able to just outplay the dive completely. Like, still has his flash, still has his cookie that he's consuming now. Like, he's happy with how that turned out.
Certainly is happy with how that one turned out. So he's weathered the initial storm. Also, we know that Zoranus is a very proficient Twisted Fate. Saw it countless times throughout the LCO playoffs. Always looking to try and push the lead as much as he can. Even played Varus top, right? So isn't afraid to do weird and wacky things. If there was ever a world in which that Varus first pick was a top lane flex, for instance. But Guapi is going to poke his head out of lane for just a second, all tracked by vision, unfortunately for him. You can see the entirety of top lane lit up like a beautiful Christmas tree.
Yeah, he just decides to TP back and use his priority to, like, you know, relieve a bit of pressure for his top laner. Like, they're not really going to find anything against, like, double stumps, Twisted Fate. Like, he's kind of an ungankable champion when he has the Ghost up. But it's still nice that, like, he's assisting his top laner a bit there.
See if anything were to take place in the spot lane now. Both junglers are here in the area. Mochi about to reveal himself on vision. So Foreigner has all the tools, all the ability to coordinate their response. Just hanging out of Fog of War will be Guapi as well on the rotate. Looking to try and force a 5-minute 4-man collapse. But ultimately, it's just wasted time. And I mean, the vision just proves to be the defining factor.
Yeah, good to see Foreigner was here to cover. We keep seeing this though, like Guapi's finding these windows to roam off like mid priority, and like eventually he's going to find the window to be able to snowball his side lanes, and like this is so important when versing something like a Hui, like a Cinder and Orianna, like just stuck in lane because they can't really match your map movement and your wave clear. So we have to see if Guapi is able to link up with Mochi and like find an early kill.
Yeah, also as the game goes later and later on, the ability to then try and travel across the map will be a big deal, but here we go. Mayfine getting aggressive, looking for the solo balance. Zoran flashing at the very last second. And the gold card, having burnt the W already, wasn't within tower range to try and answer back. But look, that is Zoran pushing it to the limit.
Yeah, so like, this is really scary now for Zoran. Like he's lost double summoners. It's very hard to navigate like the Cassante, especially like Lee Sin, Talia ult. Like I expect to see him die in the next 5 minutes. We'll have to see if he's able to you know, navigate that. As we do want to see if Antic want to contest the grubs here. Twisted Fate is at base, but he does pop the ult.
Certainly does. Get some vision in the sky, revealing to the rest of his team where Direwolves are. But that alone is enough to say we'll back away from this one. They picked up 1 Void Grub on this occasion, and they'll be forced to sacrifice the rest. So, not the worst. But as you mentioned, Guapi now being level 6 is going to be definitely keen to try and find an angle, if not in the mid lane, elsewhere to try and blow open this game for them.
Yeah, he does have access to the tier 2 boots, so he's not even worried about like trading in lane or like playing to scale. He just wants to move around the map as much as possible. It's one of like the most important things for mid laners is like getting early tier 2 boots, because like movement speed equates to damage for a lot of champions in mid lane. Like being able to dodge spells, being able to land spells is so important when you have an insane amount of damage.
Ooh, dangerous moment here for Guapi as Draku is just teasing with the ability to try and knock him up, but actually in the end gets flipped back instead. Direwolves reveal themselves, having started up the second objective, so with the priority to go for the first on those Void Grubs, they instantly try and say, well, our bot lane has found a window, a pocket of time in which we can start up the second, and this Drake does reset, Antic just being in the area enough to try and fault their attempts, so it might just play ping pong. Maybe Antic then decide our time as they force Direwolves back.
Yeah, Antic managed to stop the dragon with 3 people while Raze was pushing the bot lane there, and they've crashed the wave and now have like control back over river. So it's completely up to them what they want to do. Like they can play for camps, they can start the dragon themselves, they can play for a gank. It's just being able to have you know, more options is just always good.
Wrapping around, looking for that grand entrance onto Katsuru, who's holding his own for the meantime with the Sniper Calibrum active and ready. Able to make sure that he can last hit if he is getting completely zoned. Fantastic flash out of that Chain of Corruptions as Ray spots an opportunity to get a solo kill. And to abuse the fact that Shinky is only now running back from base to lane. Not to be the case here today, though. No first blood.
Yeah, they definitely noticed that Shinky's not here, and Katsuru's he's playing a bit too aggressive, and he loses his flash, which is such a big deal because that's a 5-minute cooldown versus, you know, a short cooldown on the ult or like a flash engage from a Khan. Like Dracu just does ding 6 here, so we have Foreigner coming bot. He's gonna walk over wards, unfortunately, so I don't think much will happen, but it's still hard for Katsuru to navigate without flash now against such hard engage.
Yeah, it certainly is. As you say, Foreigner is going to come in with that sweep. Only going to be able to clear 1 ward on this occasion. Dracu going to clear at least their control wall, but then says, you know what, Guapi, you want to rotate. I'm going to go for the flash quickness. You can go in for that Lee Sin attempt, but it's just not going to happen. The Ignite, it's burning. Guapi surviving. Shinky wrapping around, and Ray's keen on the hunt. The unending despair is there, but it's not lethal. Jisha, he actually flashes into his team. He CCs them all. There's the first spot. There's the double, and Foreigner gets a double, and he survives.
Yeah, I thought Antic had overextended a bit too much. They blew way too many cooldowns onto Guapi there, and he was able to flash to safety. Mochi had a really good kick to disengage the Vi there, but like they just had way too much damage coming out of nowhere. Like the Varus Qs, the Huia, the QW. Like there's just so much damage coming out of nowhere, and they're able to find the first blood.
All I'm saying there, Tally, is aren't you glad that was a whale and not like a different one, like a center route, for example? There's nothing worse than somebody flashing with that and just rooting the entire team. You're like, bro, are you playing for the other team? We'll have to wait and see as Mochi is now poking his head into top lane. Sidestep from Zoranus. No summoners, as we mentioned. Ghost just about to come up. Doesn't seem to be even required as he turns it around and says, gank me again. I'll make it a 1v2.
Yeah, Lee Sin doesn't really have the access to the ult here, and Zoranus knows that, so he's playing very aggressive even though he doesn't have the flash. As Foreigner does find Guapi.
He's looking for Guapi, and Curso sniping him away as the rest of his team just stand on top of him and say there's no escaping this one. Foreigner feeling inspired by this is going to plant some aggressive vision, is going to go and play for the enemy red. And I don't know if Mochi is actually keen to entertain this.
Yeah, I mean, Lee Sin's happy with the 1v1, but like, he just has no teammates on the map right now. Foreigner's just going to take away his red really comfortably. So it's a nice sizable camp lead for him. He's going to have like a really easy job, you know, being that like solo frontline for Antic because he's so fed.
Well, it's a rare opportunity then for Katsuri to be left to his own devices and farm a few of these turret plates, which certainly looks good for him. He's able to then keep pace with Raze on the Varus. A nice little opportunity with the Chakrims there for them to push out their wave and then have a second crack at taking this Cloud Drake.
Yeah, Daiwos do have priority in the bot lane right now. They know Foreigner's still topside, so like it should be just an easy trade. I think both teams are happy with this trade. Like, it's kind of it's like a nothing handshake. It's not really gonna like matter in the long run of things, but you know, it's good to see that like we're still seeing like trading, even though Daiwos are losing a bit of control on the map.
And they are losing a bit of control, but as you say, the trade is at least a merit-worthy one. Goppy consistently, every single time we pan to him, he's not a mid lane. He is roaming. He is keen to find that one angle. Without any summoners available, it could be a bit of a dicey game, but still, as you say, has the Weaver's Wall up and can look to try and block off a key objective when it does decide to spawn, but nothing at this stage, given that they've just taken that dragon. And bot lane is going to wait for its moment. As that Dragu does jump in, but the grand entrance not going to connect.
Yeah, we do see Foreigner piling bot, and we do have all else up on Antic side, so we'll have to see if like he goes for like a lane gank or something if they want to punish Katsuri not having flash. Also, I want to like shout out Incursio. I think he's doing pretty good so far. Like, as ult does go out.
Chain of Corruption's there, but the Breath of Life instantly nullifies it, right? That basically allows you to have that free cleanse in lane. So, a trading of ultimate cooldowns. But as you say, as we get a chance to pan to mid lane, yeah, Incursio not able to leave lane, but if he's an assassin main, he's getting it done.
Yeah, when I think of Incursio, I'm thinking like, oh, he's playing Katarina, he's got like 3 CS per minute, he's roaming around the map, 20 and 0. And it's really strange to me to see like almost 10 CS per minute on Incursio. It's like very foreign. But I think he's doing a good job, even though he's like probably laning against like no one, because Sally's just auto-shoving every wave and just running around the map. And he's like, guys, be careful, she's roaming again.
She is. Well, that's essentially it. And it's worked out so well that he's actually been able to get back to base and pick up that Blackfire torch. So the ability now to basically say all of us have a completed item over our opponents. We're up by close to nearly 4,000 golds. We can really do as we like. We can keep the tempo as it is and sit in lane and just win in those isolated matchups. Or if they keep entertaining the ideas of these objective fights, we'll just walk in, retake, and take it for ourselves.
Yeah, the nice thing about Blackfire Torch is since we lost Dematerializer, like a lot of mages lost like that ability to one-shot waves because you don't have that extra bit of percentage damage on the creeps. But like Blackfire Torch allows Sway to like QEE like the normal wave clear combo and like one-shot the melee creeps, which is like really nice for like that extra bit of speed, like the quality of life, like moving around the map faster because you spend less time clearing waves. It's very nice like quality of life change.
Let's see how much quality he can then output with it as a result. All that burning damage, certainly going to be a bit of a menace, especially when he does Zeref Tech and just hits you off screen. But you did just see in the bot lane both tier 2 boots completed there, so boots of lucidity for the two of them. As to be expected is that Lethality Varus is wanting to try and keep his distance and really say, okay, if you're looking for that engage as a Lee Sin or a Cassante, it's just not going to happen. Speaking of, he is top lane, and those lane states have flipped despite the towers not being down. The turret plates are gone, which makes the lane flip a little bit better given that the objective has just spawned.
Yeah, Daiwos initiate a swap. I assume they either trying to avoid the like the top lane matchup or like they want to set up this dragon. If Katsuri completes his base, like yeah, I just assume they're gonna like constantly swap and keep trying to avoid like leaving TF versus Cassante in a 1v1 because like the item gap is a bit crazy right now. He's just gonna like constantly beat these turrets down. If they do decide to like just keep standard lanes, then you know I assume they're just gonna set up for objectives and hopefully Mayfun does find an angle to like TP into a fight and like just get out of this like 1v1, which is just not good for him right now.
It is a bit of a brutal 1v1. Kraken Slayer, Zeal, Boots of Swiftness, and then you've got what, double combat summoners in the Flash Ghost. We saw what he did before in the 1v2. It's basically a sign to Mochi, don't ever come to my lane again. Stick elsewhere, which just offers so much landscape, so much real estate then for the TF to outplay. Out goes the Weaver's Wall, a TP right on that wall, allows them to try and say, let's force this fight, but it's a split one for the meantime. Guapi goes in, but there's Guapi that dies! He's the one who's meant to try and set up this fight, but he's the one that falls on down. Mayfun across the wall, isolating out the wave from Incursio. He takes the 1v wall, actually forcing the phase check and using that fog of war beautifully in his fashion, but it's not enough. in the end, his lane opponent is the one to take him down.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of an unsung hero there from Raid, just, you know, completely just blows him up. Okay. Yeah, unsung hero there. Zorius was just zoning 3 people. We see Guapi go into the 1v3 completely and just blow up, as we see a little bit of a chunk going on, but I don't expect anything to happen. We'll get to see it in the replay, but I think, you know, Guapi went a bit too ham there and just found himself dead, like Raze right now.
Well, Raze, he's tried to be cute and clever with it, but Katsuri says, watch this, hits him with the Direwolves flare as well. And says, look, it is Aphelios at the end of the day. Don't disrespect me, because I can punish you.
Yeah, so the one saving grace for Direwolves here was that Raze didn't have ult to use the top lane, but Guapi just like goes on an ankle in a 1v3 here. Absolutely no one to keep him alive as he's next to, like, you know, the 2 diving champs, and Zardes is just doing a really good job, like, zoning the rest of the team from following up. Like, Mayfar's just in here by himself, and he can't really do anything when the rest of his team is just, you know, not there to back him up.
It does really feel like Zornis is like that annoying little brother who's just on the side, constantly nagging you, being a bit of a menace, just like zoning away 3 people. And it's like, oh wait, there's a team fight taking place. We need to group up. And I say that, and unfortunately Mayfar, having flipped the lane state, meets Zornis, who TPs on his head and says, yoink, I'll take that too. And Kyoso actually the one to pick it up to make himself have 2 kills. But I think it's getting close to that point where it becomes a little bit too much to overcome. Rapid fire cannon done for the Twisted Fate now. Mochi now surrounded by 4. The wave is crashing, and this Lee Sin is a sitting duck.
And there he goes. And cute little interaction there, and Cursor dodges the tower shot with the Rift Herald.
Yep,
honestly, it's rare, you know, you don't really see carries driving the Rift Herald because, you know, I think we saw it once. We saw Faker like go into a turret and throw a game, but it's nice. It's nice to see the tanks do it. I feel like carries should really avoid hopping into the Rift Herald. I've seen some terrible things happen.
So what you're saying is Incursio and Faker have both taken the Rift Herald. They're basically the same person.
True. I mean, he's having a flawless away game so far.
True. The O's Faker. Well, let's see then if they can try and answer back at least with some kills, some tangible kills. That's what we're really after, right? 17 minutes into this one. They're down by 8,000 gold, which funnily enough is the amount of kills that Antic are up by. And if you look at the overall gold where it's all actually, you know, handed out, it is still Katsuri versus, but it feels like a bit of a broken narrative where we go from split 1 to 2. The players change, the style is still the same. He admitted it himself in his pre-game interview. But Zoranus is just doing Twisted Fate things, and he's in a league of his own.
Yeah, Zoranus has just like had access to so many plates. Like playing TF against the melee champ and not getting like ganked consistently, you're just gonna find so much gold from like your individual matchup. He was also like, he's had a really good good showing with his ult. Like he's found 2 kills like roaming around the map, which is like really nice to see from a top laner.
Let's see what Direwolf can then do to try and answer back into this one. They did find themselves that very first dragon. They've tried to contest other objectives, but always been bullied off it, either by their ability to be behind or just overextend their attempt to try and force the fight in their favor. Certainly can't afford to give too many opportunities away to a team like Antic, especially with the amount of veterans on that roster, that amount of experience to know what to do with a lead like such. But Mayfar is going to finally be left to his own and be allowed to actually push him away for once. And as soon as he spots TF, he's out of there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really afraid for Direwolves when Antic are able to group, and like Direwolves can't really punish because their side laners are so weak. As we do just see the trade happen again. I feel like this is going to be the story of the game. Varasalt trade, Varasalt flash. You know, not so much like kills coming through. But I think Direwolves really need to lock down on denying Antic from grouping. Like they need to keep these sides pushed out as much as possible while not, you know, getting picked by the Vi, by the Rakan. Because the moment Antic is able to group, like, they can't deal with that siege. It's just way too much damage, way too much CC.
Yeah, too much siege, too much range, and too much inability to try and find the angles, especially when you're down, to have the vision, the flanking opportunities, even the TP angles, right, to try and make sure that you can isolate out the key target that you're after. But we have seen just how strong Katsuri is, and we've also seen just how strong Zonis is, because he just run at you with the gold card, with the Ghost, coming at you at Mach 10 speed and says, Katsuri, you are the focus, you will be falling down. And there's a bit of caster curse also there, Tally, because you say one thing, the other thing happens. Triple kill now for Zoranus, and, well, that's a Baron on spawn.
Yeah, my bad, guys. Yeah, so that's just like the tried and true like case in League. Like if you show on sides, your mid lane's gonna get engaged on. And that's just what they did. Like they pulled the trigger, committed to every flash, committed to not even the TF ult. Like he was just already there. He's just running in with Ghost. And it's really hard to deal with like a rapid fire cannon gold card TF running at your carry.
It's terrifying. I mean, you watch that replay back, whether or not we get it, we'll see it here. Look at him. He just literally runs it down mid, but in a good way.
Yeah, like it's really hard to deal with such a fast TF with such long engage, and then we just see the flashes come through. Katsuri's like, I've got nothing left, guys. Like, I'll do as much as I can, but I can't really do anything. And like the TF is just putting out so much damage here alongside the rest of these teams.
You can cleanse, you can heal, you can get everything under the sun, but it just wasn't enough to try and stop the steam train, which is Antic, coming at you as a 5-man squad, which was, to be fair, your concern. And now we've seen the real outcome of that, right? So whether or not Direwolves do get given a chance to stay split in those side lanes is another question entirely. 3 items, 3.5 to be fair now for the Twisted Fate. They've just picked up the Baron. The Dragon, forget about it, a distant afterthought. They've got 5 Void Grubs, so not only do they have the range advantage, but they have so much sieging potential, even with that taken into consideration.
Yeah, I expect to see Antic play on like multiple lanes and like try get as much out of this Baron as possible. I don't really see them like 5-manning. I think it'll be like a 4-1, ideally with TF on side, and this is probably Direwolves' like one window to find a pick, either on the 4 as like the numbers advantage or to kill Zoranus when he doesn't have Ghost.
Katsuri does have the flash up and available, so that is at least one positive to talk about here, but he's the only one farming this wave, and he knows that something doesn't smell quite right. He's going to push up a little bit based on the fact that Mochi has cut off one side of the angle, but as we can see from the God Vision, Antic are just lurking in the shadows, highly pushed up, just waiting, daring anybody to face check as they begin the Baron Siege.
Yeah, and this is the hard part for Direwolves. Like when Antic are able to set up like this, like the damage that just is coming out of it, pretty much the sky. You know, you got to watch out for everything right now.
Yeah, you've got to have a flash with no cooldown to dodge everything coming at you, because top lane, it's been battered. It's gone. It's been completely removed from the equation, and they're going to turn their attention onto mid lane. So the 4-1 you highlight is working out beautifully. They leave Twisted Fate to his own, who is so strong that it would need more than 2 people to try and stop him. But if they are commanding that much attention towards mid, top lane falls down even easier. It's that bit of a catch-22, as they'll try and do what they can in this mid lane, but it feels like it's an inevitable fate for it to fall down as well.
Yeah, I do, like, you might assume like Antic is overstaying their stay a bit, but I assume they're going to throw ults and try like get as much as they can before they want to base, see if anything happens. You know, like we see the Varusol go out, but like not too much is going to happen there.
But to be fair, Katsuri, honestly, put in, once again, a really good effort. Targeted ultimate on towards Raze, and then Mochi patiently waiting on the side there, seeing what he can find. Zoranus is the focus. Zoranus eventually will fall on down, and it's Katsuri that picks up that shutdown bounty. Most importantly, Guapi goes in with a TP, instantly gets locked down by Foreigner saying, where are you going? What is that flank? And for all the credit Direwolves had, it kind of just comes unstuck.
Yeah, this seems to be the story of the game. I keep seeing Guapi like playing these flanks and just getting absolutely destroyed by either like Foreigner or Zoranus, like isolated from the rest of these teams. They're not really like playing around the Aphelios like in a front to back manner. Like, this is honestly like a really good pick from Mochi. Like really nice kick. Unfortunately, the damage didn't come out straight away, and like Zoranus was able to get like a lot of damage off onto Katsuri, which forced him to flash out of the fight. And you know, like Guapi's just like by himself in the back line, and like you're not going to beat a fight at this point.
And they aren't. Far too strong, far too ramped up, and far too protected from the rest of the team, swarming around that one flanking TP, which they've spotted dead center in the middle of that lane. Well, I suppose 24 minutes into this one then, 13 kills to 2, up by 12,000 gold. I think tonight's schedule, the series, really were going to be 2 lopsided affairs, given the sort of disparity, some of the unknown quantities around these rosters, but also just the sort of pedigree that these 2 teams were the finalists, and you're expecting them to come out the gate swinging.
Yeah, it's also like the nice thing about best of series, because like coming into a new split, you can make assumptions about like your opponents, like what they prioritize, like how they're gonna play, but you don't really know until you play them on the day. And like I feel like Antic have shown like a lot of their hand here, and like Direwolves can like go back to the drawing board for the next game and maybe change, maybe play the same, maybe they assume that like it was just a misplay on their part, as we are getting picked here.
Certainly, I like how you talked for a little bit, because it does take a fair bit of time to try and take the K'Sante down, but eventually he does fall, so Foreigner will pick that up for his 3rd of the game, and Zoranus says, okay, you've listened to me, you said that we need more than 2 people, so we'll give you 3! And I tell you what, Katsuri is the one that says, come on team, I'm the only one with kills on this game, rally behind me and let's try and win this game. He's got the life still, he's got the ability to try and force the Foreigner back, and the snipe across the wall will not be for him. It will be taken by Mochi as we continue to find around in the jungle. Raze with a nice flash to sidestep it onto Katsuri. Receives the shield, but it's just not enough. And Katsuri says, come on, boys! We're down this much gold, but we're still fighting back! Oh, dear.
The damage coming out of Katsuri right now is insane. Like, we completely slept on it, but he just picked up IE, like, out of nowhere. As the double burn does come through, like, there's the new items going to work. But, yeah, Katsuri's picked up his Infinity Edge, and his damage is a bit unmatched right now. And, like, Antic was having such a, like, unconstructed fight. Katsuri's just finding, like, 1v1s consistently, and, like, that's where Affiliates will shine.
Tell you what, he's got a fairly hefty weight on his shoulders, but if he's given the resources, he's putting it to good work. Up by a fair amount of CS, now up by a whole host of kills. And I guess that's always the interesting discussion point, right? What scales better? And at this stage, you're thinking Aphelios may have the tools to try and 1v9.
Yeah, I mean, even looking at his gun combo, like, no one wants to be green-red in this situation, but he's still just outputting an insane amount of damage. Like, honestly, unsung hero here is Shinky. Like, his Qs coming out of melee, like, stopping the engage was really, really good. Like, they were unable to find Katsuri. He's playing with, you know, so much freedom in these fights, like, finding these, like, 1v1s against people who just are a bit too squishy at this point.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, it's really two different styles of play, be it the front to back versus the poke, and if you haven't done enough poke damage, surprise, surprise, that front to back team just gets to delete you right in your face. No matter the flashy tech from Raze there, it wasn't enough to try and deny the kill. Back to the second then respawning of the Baron. That one denied away from Direwolves before. But this definitely puts a bit of a spanner in the works, doesn't it? To be down, what, 12,000 gold before that team fight, but then to come out ahead? All those bounties claimed, and now you're thinking, don't tell me this game goes late.
See if Zornis is able to ult out in time. Ooh. That was close. That was extremely close. But yeah, like, looking at the gold lead, like, you see this huge 12,000 gold lead, but it's honestly a bit closer than that. Like, if Katsuri finds the damage, he can one-shot pretty much every champion on that team. Like, no one is tanky against these items he has right now.
Nice knockback there from Shinky once again, 14 attempts of Draco to try and find the charm with that quickness. The Baron down to 50%. I feel like Antic are looking for the turn, they're baiting, but they are going to be losing HP on their jungler. Their main engage from that Vi, just out of range of that piercing arrow as Zornis filters off from that bot lane attempt into the mid. I want to continue to go for this 1-4 split, but I think Zornis does realize that he is human after all. Despite having the most items in this game, he can bleed. And they're not going to really want to throw anything, knowing that Direwolves are strong enough to try and catch it.
Yeah, you just see Zornis just being a pest, like, constantly going to the side. Even though he doesn't have access to that TP, like, he doesn't mind. Like, he really just wants to, you know, force someone to come answer him, because in the 1v1 he's completely fine. If he forces two people to come to him, then, like, the rest of his team can play for the Baron, and it's very easy to secure when you're in that numbers advantage situation.
Now basically do that little vision dance around the Baron pit, don't we? You replace the ward, you go back to base, get the inventory restocked again, come back again, plant it down and say, are we still doing this, guys? Are we still dancing with this Baron? Let's just fight. Ultimately, Direwolves do go in, replace everything that was just denied, and now they play clean out crew. So that is the late game shenanigans. I suppose the frustration based on the fact that if they don't pay too much attention to this Baron, Zornis will just single-handedly win the game by split pushing.
Yeah, a much more methodical game. We're seeing, like, just, like, the turn-based League of Legends happening. Like, you clear my wards, I clear your wards, like, you recall, I recall. But, like once again, you see the gold lead, it keeps ballooning because Zornis, Antic are getting access to the entire map. Like, you see them answering waves in front of the enemy base, they're stealing jungle camps. It's not just, like, wood clearing, you know, turn-based. There's a lot more gold going into the Antic pockets just from all the farm and camps they're taking right now.
Yeah, as you say, the map really does belong to them. They've got 7 towers to 2, so the map is so freely open for them to roam around and find and really deny as they please. And yeah, it really is up for Direwolves to try and find that killer moment to say we are strong enough to try and contest, because as it stands, Katsuri has 4 items complete. He's got the Lord Doms, so anybody, even if they are quite squishy, is going to be absolutely eviscerated. If he's got the flash, if he's got Shinky there to pocket him in the backline as well, I mean, there's a real chance that he can just continue to go crazy.
Do have a sneaky ward here, so you know, as I do have an engage onto Mei farm.
Looking for it. Mayfun is the focus, goes all out after buffering all that CEC. They turn around onto Draco instead. Now who's
the blue gun?
Unfortunately, going to fall on down. There is the blue gun, there is the Moonlight Vigil, there is the damage maker, a double kill, looking for the triple. Going golden is Zornis as he comes out of that one. There is the triple, Rob. Get it done for the team. Put them on your back and carry to the skyline and beyond, as they're going to look to try and run down Raze now, who's already burnt double summon. As the wall blocks his retreat, and they spoon feed the quadra kill and say there's only one more in our sights. We're down 13,000 gold. How is this happening?
Yeah, it's honestly like Katsuri knows his limits there. As you can see in the fight, like he just flashes forward with blue gun and he just starts blasting. Like being in that choke, being all funneled together, like the AoE damage he was putting out is quite insane as we will see in the replay. Like we do engage onto Mayfarm here as like Antic, but it's not really like ideal. We're losing like way too many cooldowns when he can just get out like that. Like as you look at Katsuri in this fight, like he's just hitting with the blue gun. He's just flashing forward. Like he's really confident, even though like the gold lead is so big right now. It's honestly really well played to him. I think Incursio did a good job like trying to clean up on the end here, but unfortunately like the carries from Antic like split up. It's just getting picked up by Talia Flick.
Yeah, they certainly do. They certainly do, Tally, and this really does become a bit of a head scratcher, because you'd say if you were to tune into this game right now, oh okay, Antic are absolutely smashing this one, but I imagine the gold graph once we get to the end of this game is going to be so up and down all over the show, because Katsuri very early on to the game was the only red member in that top 5 discussion. Now he is single-handedly at the top, and his closest teammate is down 7,000 gold.
Yeah, you would think like this should be a much easier game for Antic. Like basically, when you look at the gold, it's quite insane that this is a close game. I think that like it's part of like Katsuri's playing really well, but it's also that there's not much threat onto his champion. Like it's just Vi, and we're at the point in the game where like poke doesn't really matter because like he has sustain from the Emilio. I assume he's running Bloodline as well, so he has like a bit of life still in his kit. Like he has the Guardian Angel now, so even if he messes up, he's got that extra life. It's just, like if you're an Antic fan, it's a bit scary being in this game state, but like they're not out of it for sure. Like their champs still scale really well. Like I think that Hui is like kind of unmatched in these like late game team fights if he gets access to the death cap.
Yeah, certainly is an anxiety-inducing moment for the Antic fans out there, thinking, how come we haven't won this game when we've been up by such a sizable amount? But Direwolves for the first time this time say, well, we can actually answer back with an objective started up on our own terms that we can claim and we can now use to good success. 2 towers become 4. The gold lead once again shrinking to a little bit more of a tangible number. But then they say, at all out it cost, kill this Aphelios. He's got the Guardian Angel. And first and foremost, that's what they pop. He's got no flash. He doesn't have barrier. He has a support. And is that enough? The shielding, the healing. But look at Zorinus. Look at Zorinus. He's a Gatling gun on the flank. And they said, you will die at all costs. And the gold guard will be denied by the Banshees.
They need to end the game here. This is their one window to win the game. If they don't win here, Katsuri next fight, he's going to have flash. He's going to have access to a lot more utility to be able to survive that. They use so many cooldowns to be able to blow him up there. And if they're unable to end the game here, I would be pretty comfortable with saying Direwolves is going to take it from here.
Another game where you've got all the Void Grubs to really assist in that true damage to try and shred these structures down. There is the Zonias. Dying time, making sure that this wave can maybe survive just a fraction longer. Zorinus is going to die to the tower. Too greedy for the kill. And honestly, Tally, that stopped their ability to end the game.
Ooh, that is scary. That is very scary indeed. Antic are going to have to play these next fights really well. Dracu does have access to the flash, and Foreigner does have his tool, so that was actually my mistake. They didn't blow that much getting onto him. But yeah, these are what the fights are going to look like from now on. Like the flanks, every bit of CC going down. Like even though he's hitting everything on him, you see that Katsuri does come out of the GA here and gets so much damage off towards the end. But Zorinus, you know, he still is going to output that damage if he's left untouched like this.
Certainly is going to be left untouched, and as much damage as, you know, the Aphelios can do when left to their own device. Same could be said of this Twisted Fate. We're going to be up in about 20 seconds. He's already full build, 33 minutes into this one. We're certainly scaling our way towards that late game fiesta, where it is Antic hunting for the Chemtech Soul, but it is Direwolves looking to deploy first and deny with that numbers advantage.
Yeah, I assume Antic is probably going to play to get this here. They're not really in position. Cute little steal attempt from Raze, but you know, it doesn't work every time. I will shout out the book buy from Incursio. Respect. Book enjoyer.
Many pages.
The Magi Church.
He is looking to write a few more chapters in this game, having got 10 pages already secured. Wants to get that magical 25 and showcase that I am more than just assassin player. I know he's got a lot of fans watching right now in Twitch chat thinking, wait, Incursio back in pro play? That's my streamer. But certainly 7-1-9, it's a pretty standout performance from him, given this is his first time showcasing a different style of play in a competitive landscape.
Yeah, I think it's a really good showing from Incursio, because a lot of people would assume that he would be like the weak link of the team. You know, like he's a one trick. how's he going to play in like such a mage-dominated meta, but I think he's having a really, really good showing on probably one of the hardest champs in the game right now. So like shout out to Incursio for playing so well so far.
So far, so good. May not be the same fate, though, for Mayfun as he's been isolated out in the side lanes. Isn't actually going to stun out that gold card, uses it now, and is he actually going to get out for free? The campfire, it's nice, it's cozy. Gets a warm cup of cocoa, and he's A-OK. The line, the wall, blocks out Zoranus, who does have a Guardian Angel of his own. Doesn't have the flash, though, waits for that one to expire and looks to try and kite his way to victory. Out goes Squappy again with a Zonia status. Katsuri in the backline with the red and the green, sniping, life-stealing, and doing criminal amounts of damage, but this time it wasn't enough to try and 1v9.
Yeah, that's the prowess of the Hui. Like when you're diving into him and he gets the QE out, like the mini rumble ult, like the damage he's outputting there is insane, and that's just honestly well played to Antic. Like, he still had all their summoners up. I thought that like Dracu blowing his Rakan ult onto the front line there would seal the fight for Katsuri, but have to see if they're able to end here.
Looking to end, looking to get it done, looking to say this game should have been over about 10 minutes ago. One turret falls, a second soon to follow. Katsuri against the world, down at 20%. He can't sustain for much more. Procs the shield, front line tanks it. Axe, in really the only fashion he could do, send it, or this game would end. But Antic at 36 minutes eventually put a bow on it and wrap it up for game one.
Yeah, they really had to work for that game. Like Direwolves, honestly, shout out to them for doing such a good job playing from behind and like finding a point where they could scale into the game and, you know, have a lot more activity on the map. I think that like it's really good for game 2 if they're able to like bounce back and, you know, make them work for it even more.
Feels like one of those games where I feel like both teams walk away from this one not really too happy. One being on the recipient of the loss, but also the other team being we won, but it should have been a lot easier given the amount of gold that we had. Either way, Antic lead at the break. Join us right after this.